Hello, in this lesson I'm going to be covering how you can enter a work order via your mobile phone. When you first log into your phone, you will see an icon that's called FTC Apps. When you click on this icon, it will take you to the login screen for SiteLink that will take you directly into entering a work order. For those maintenance men that do not currently have a SiteLink login, you have been issued a username, and that will be emailed to your personal email that is on file with payroll. If you do not receive that email, please contact your manager and they can get in contact with computer support. Once you have your username and password, you'll simply enter that into the fields and click Login. For those maintenance men that work at multiple properties, you will be presented with a select property screen and you will scroll to find the property that you want to enter the work order for. If you do not have multiple properties, it will just automatically log you right into your property and take you to your work order selection screen. Now, this screen initially will show you all of the work orders that are assigned to you. It's like your to-do list. If you want to see all of the work orders for the particular property that you're logged into, you can simply click on the All Work Orders filter, and that will show you all of the work orders listed. This is very similar to how you would see the work orders listed currently in SiteLink if you are using SiteLink to enter work orders. So now we're going to go ahead and create the work order. So you would simply click on Create New Work Order, and it's going to take you to a screen that has 6 steps. Now, when you're first creating the work order, it's possible that you will not be filling out each of these steps. Steps 1 and 2 are required, so you will need to fill those 2 steps out. But depending on who at your property is in charge of setting appointments or actually assigning the work order to a particular employee, you may not be the one that does that. So you may just initially put the work order in, and then either the maintenance supervisor or someone in the office will be going back through that work order and setting that appointment, possibly contacting the resident to find out when they want the appointment set, and then they will be the one possibly that will be assigning that work order to that employee. So for you, you will go in and select the location, whether it's possibly the common area or maybe a unit. We're going to go ahead and select a unit today. And then the requested by, that's either the resident who is reporting this work to you, or possibly it might be a staff member. In this case, we're going to go ahead and select a resident. Then in the work requested, you want to put in a brief description of what that resident or possibly you have noticed that needs to be done, and you will put that in the work requested. Right now, I'm just going to be putting in test. There's also a feature where you can attach or take a picture. So if you want to take a picture of the item that needs to be worked on, because that might help the employee that will be doing the job, you can go ahead and click Attach Picture and take a picture of that item. Then once the work order is submitted, you actually can also view that picture not only in the work order mobile site here on your phone, but anyone in the office staff can also see that via SiteLink. Now, you may not know at this point whether or not it's ASAP or an appointment is required. If an appointment is required, you would simply click this, or if it's ASAP and they are not specifically asking for an appointment, you would leave it at ASAP. Now, as I mentioned, you cannot actually click on these steps to get through. You will simply click Next, and it will take you to the next tab. Now, you are able to click back if you need to, if something needs to be changed on a previous screen, but that might not be needed on your initial entry. So on step 2, it is now required that we have an email address and at least one phone number. If you try to submit the work order without this information, it will actually show you in red, and I can show you right now. If you try to click next, it's going to tell you that an email or a decline to state is needed. So if the resident is unwilling to give you an email address, you would simply click decline to state and it would let you move forward. But in this case, we did have an email address, so we'll leave that in there. And like I said, you will also need either a home phone number or a mobile phone number. That way the office can contact that resident if there's any questions or to let them know that the work has been completed. If the resident is in front of you, you can ask them if it's okay to enter or not, and if there's a pet in the residence. So if they're agreeing that yes, it's okay, you would say yes, and then depending on whether or not they have a pet, you would choose those selections. So at this point, you really have all the necessary information to create the initial work order. So you will click next. If you are not the one that's in charge of setting the appointments, then you will leave this blank. The same with the manage screen to the assign to. If you are not the one that's in charge of assigning these work orders because you may not know work schedule or what another employee maybe have planned for that day, this may be something that your maintenance supervisor or someone in your office is actually responsible for doing. So in that case, you would just go ahead and click next. When you're first initially entering the work order, it's not complete, so you would click next again. And then if you do have any comments or observations that you want to give to the office, you would put that in the comment section here. And then once you're ready to submit, you would just simply click finish. It is important though that you click finish, otherwise the work order will not be submitted. So we'll click finish, and then it will just take you back to your view work order screen where you can see the work orders that are on your to-do list. Now that our work order has been submitted, I do want to cover a couple other items just to get you familiar with this screen. So again, this is what your view will look like on your phone. It will be a little bit smaller because I am on a computer, but up in this navigation section, you are able to view work orders. So if you happen to be clicked into a work order and you're just viewing it, there's no need to click next and finish through. If you're just viewing it, you can simply go up to the navigation and click on view work orders, and that will take you back to your to-do list of those work orders assigned specifically to you. Then you can also, from here, create a new work order or change property. Again, if you are a maintenance man who works at multiple properties, this is how you would come through and choose the property that you want to enter that work order for. And then you also have the ability to log out from this screen. So that is the overview of how to enter a work order. Now we will cover completing a work order. You will simply click on the work order that you would like to complete. And at this point, since the work order has already been entered, all of the steps are now clickable. So you would just skip to step 5 to enter in the work order information for the completion. So you will enter in a description. You can attach a picture, and again, that picture will save to the mobile work order and also be viewable in SiteLink. You will click in to choose the start and completed date and time. And then who was the work order completed by? Possibly it was completed by you, or maybe you're completing this work order for someone else, and so then you would choose that person's name, and then you would just simply click on next. And then if you have any notes for the office, that's in this section is where you would enter those notes, and then simply click on finish. Now this one, we had changed the resident's contact information. Do you want to make that permanent? For testing purposes right now, I'm just going to go ahead and say no, but you could say yes to that. Now on the to-do list, the work order should drop from the screen and no longer be visible. At some point in the future, you will be able to view those work orders that have been completed, but right now you should only be able to see those work orders that are active and ready to be worked on. Now I want to show you what will happen if information is missing from a work order. Hopefully, since the steps are followed for you, you shouldn't miss any information, but there is a possibility that information could be skipped, and on initial entry, it may not flag you. Maybe you're coming into a work order that was already in the system prior to the mobile work order being launched, and there have been a couple items that were changed that are now required, like the email and at least one phone number. So if you were to be in a work order that is missing information, but you did not notice it, and you go to click finish, you will now see that it's going to tell you that there's errors on the work order. If you click on that error link, it's going to show you the step where there's information missing so that you can just go to that step and see what information is needed. So at this point, there is an appointment set, but for some reason, the appointment reason was removed and at some point able to be saved. And now we need to go in and fill in that information so that we can submit the work order either for an initial or maybe that it's now completed and it was missing that information. So at that point, you would just go back to finish. And as long as all the information is there, it will allow you to complete that work order. This now covers the initial work order mobile app video. There will be more communication in regards to using the work order app. This is all new for us. It is brand new today. I have been testing it, but there's still a possibility that we might run into some issues. If you do run into issues and you're having a problem entering the work orders via your mobile phone, whether it's an error or it's not saving your information correctly, whatever the case may be, please bring any issues to the attention of your manager so they can immediately get in contact with the computer support, because we do not want the maintenance man to be frustrated using this new feature, and we definitely don't want work orders to be entered and then for some reason they're being dropped off because the work order app isn't saving them properly. So please make sure you are bringing any issues to your manager, whether good or bad. If you're having a good experience, we of course want to hear that as well. Or if you have any suggestions on maybe the workflow, if you're having problems, please bring all of that to our attention, to your manager's attention first, and then they can bring that to computer support's attention so that we can facilitate getting anything corrected immediately. And if we are having large errors found, then we definitely want to stop using the work order app initially so that we can get anything worked out and then pick it back up when we feel like the errors have been resolved. Thank you for taking this lesson, and please watch for additional communication in regards to using the mobile work order. Thank you.